Good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to this special panel show. I feel like I should pay attention here. It's Flashback Friday from last week. It was the wonderful ESTAS Awards last week, and I'm delighted to say we have with us 4 of the salubrious. I don't know if salubrious is the right word, but anyway, the winners here. Friend of the show, Kristjan Byfield, once more. Not on it as much as Matt Nicol, but you're pretty good all the same. Heather Staff of Spectre, hello, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
We'll come to you later, Charlie. I know you like to be left to last. Jamie Parks, Tenant Shop, fantastic to have you on board, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Charlie, second award whore in the industry, Perdios. From fella Anthony Pepe, as David Mintz would call it. So welcome, guys. Well, if you're anything like me, one more Supplier of the Year awards than anyone else. Let's get that out there. You want to never let it stop, do you? So you've won the awards, you've had your hit of adrenaline, and now you just want to keep celebrating that. So if there's one thing I know how to keep going, it's a party. So we're going to keep that going on for the moment, guys. We've got an award. Here we are. I did mention he was going to be here. And last, I'm definitely. Hello there. Now, we won't go to him just yet because stop showing us that. You always do that. I don't know why you're obsessing with that. Okay, guys,
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop proceedings right now. I'm very busy. I've got valuation to go to. I've got business going on here. I am not one of those agents that wins an award and just sits back and has got Friday afternoon to spend chilling with you guys. So I want to display my award, and then I'm going to get off this and leave you to it. All right?
Okay, let's do your award.
This is my 10-meter swimming badge, everybody. Yeah? You cannot take that away from me, ESTAS. Yeah?
I think they can.
I had to, what did Byfield do? Yes, he's got an excellent company. He's been providing great customer service to both tenants and landlords alike for years. He's got an award-winning prop tech offering. Perdios, what's he got? He's got nice hair and stuff. Jamie Park, maybe you haven't got that hair, but you know what, Heather, you're obviously one of the better looking people in the industry, and you've got a fantastic product. But what have I got? I put on my pajamas and rescued a brick from the pool.
You did say brick, didn't you?
You did say brick, yeah.
Anyway, guys, I just wanted to tune in and say congratulations from somebody that's looked at you from the outside. It's so nice to be this close to you all, but still not be able to quite touch you.
Socially distancing and indeed award distancing, yes. So, guys, let's start off with this. For those agents like David that can't win, what advice would you give to them to try and win? Obviously, we're talking about ESTAS, but to win awards in general, what do you feel is the secret ingredient? Let's start with you, Jamie.
Yes. So I wouldn't want to give too many secret ingredients away, but I'll give some tips for those that are running behind me trying to catch these awards. Now, for votes is it can sometimes be kind of like a chore or letting agents because they're busy. Like we say there, this can happen. So I think it's important to make sure that you stretch it across the year. So from when the ESTAS finished, and now we're all celebrating, it's all been good. Get on to the boat train and start softly speaking to agents about we're going to be there next year. We're going to be doing the rounds again, and spread it across the year because you get plenty more time to vote, collect them good votes. And secondly, is to make sure you're actually speaking to from my point of view, it's agents. So as opposed to sending a big email out 3 days before the ESTAS and getting 1,000 votes, they won't work like that. You'll get poor feedback. So make it personal, make it part of your aftercare calls, off the back of some good stuff that you do. And if you're like me, you can do lots of good stuff, you're going to get lots of votes. So make it personal and make them want to vote for you.
Wow, that was a great answer, and he didn't use the word bribe once.
No, That's number 3, though, but I don't need to say that now, then, no.
Cut the bitterness down just a tad, David. Just a tad.
Genuinely, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. I do love you all. Congratulations. It's been an honor to share the stage with you.
For that time period. Get used to it. Well done. I was just worried there that he actually does have the admin codes to the account, so he might have got rid of us all just being really bitter there.
Oh,
okay.
I wouldn't do that.
That's even more worrying. That's even more worrying that he stalks us from the ether like that. Okay, Jamie, that is a really good point, though, isn't it? And I think the ESTAS, Simon and Sarah, always talk about that importance of, look, take advantage. There's too many people go into this at the last minute, whichever one it is, and they see it as just being a really short-term effect. Some of the best companies I've seen out there, and indeed actually have built it into their culture as well. So, look, I appreciate, sometimes it's expensive to take as many staff members as you would want to these events when they're actually taking place, but some do hold sort of competitions where if you've had a great year, they get rewarded with that. And I think all of that stuff, that celebration that you get to have with the team is a fantastic, that almost that alone is a great aspect for it, isn't it? Charlie, what would you say, Charlie, then, in terms of what advice would you give to people who, maybe haven't had the success that they feel they should have been recognised for? How did you manage to fool people?
I agree with what Jamie said. I think the key is to get the votes consistently throughout the year. So start as soon as possible. Try and collect those votes from your happy customers at their happiest moment in time. So once they've exchanged, or you've got a sale agreed, or in lettings, once the deal. Don't leave it 10 months. Down the road, so the timing is key. But for us, Anthony, Pepe, I think the key is, and you mentioned it, Simon, it's getting the right culture of the people. You need the buy-in of everyone within the company. If you don't have the buy-in of your staff and your employees, you're not going to be that successful, because you can't bribe them. People are not going to do it. They're not going to get reviews if you're going to give them a certain amount. You've got to be. It's the behaviour of the staff. That's got to change. So we've managed to bring that in, and the culture that we've got, Anthony, Pepe, means that people just want to do that as part of their job. They want to give customer service. So if you've got the right people, it's going to be pretty easy. So my advice would be, make sure you get the right, you recruit well, you train well to get the right staff, because then it's really easy.
And it's a big point, that, isn't it, in terms of a lot of people, there's cynicism out there in terms of these. We'll get onto that in a later question about these awards can be built and everything else. But we'll deal with that nonsense later on. But actually, as well, there's a big difference in terms of what you're talking about there in terms of, optimization, knowing the right time when to do this, and gaming or faking the system. If there is nothing wrong with getting people at the right time with this, because it's still honest feedback and everything else there. And by, one thing that I don't think a lot of these people understand is that you do get essentially bonuses for the amount of votes, as I understand it, in terms of that you get on board there. And that effect, by definition, means that it's very, very hard to game these systems or to fake them in the way, because the sooner you start going out to more and more people, by definition, you're going outside of your core pool of friendly clients, aren't you?
Yeah, but I do think that there is a cap on the amount of people, the amount of actual reviews you can have, I think, with the ESTAS. So I think probably 5-6 years ago it was unlimited, and then it was just the agents that would have the volume of reviews that would have an advantage. And I remember mentioning this to Sarah and Simon, and they have changed it and made it a lot fairer, I think, now. So people with a lower volume but still high quality of reviews have still got a chance of winning.
I think that's the point about tweaking it, isn't it? To make sure that balance is, yes, there should be a benefit from getting more votes, but it shouldn't just mean that it's overwhelmed by getting loads of people voting in per se, isn't it? Craig, let's just ask you, what's your opinion on that? No, that'd be unfair just to ask your opinion straight away. Welcome for joining us from the wonderful Valpal. How are you? You okay?
Thank you. Yeah, really good. Thank you. I was actually just going to add to what Charlie was saying there, because one of the things that we've found quite useful with our team, and I do definitely agree that it's about getting your team on board. I think that's really crucial. But what happens, or what generally tends to happen, is you get everybody on board, and then they remember for a little while, and then it kind of fizzles out, and they forget about it a little bit. So it's remembering to keep reminding people in your Monday morning meetings that to make sure that they're getting the reviews, and they're getting these the testimonials and everything, and we do it religiously, but we also then allocate like power hours to it. Okay. So every now and then we just like say, right, okay, everybody call the 5 clients, 6 clients, or whatever in that hour that you've been working on recently, and just to bring it to front of the front of your mind, and make sure that you're doing it, and keep doing that consistently. That just raises the numbers on an ongoing basis. It's just keeping that going, really, I would say.
Okay, that's really useful. Thank you, Heather. What advice to give to people?
Yeah, well, for those that don't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of Spectre, so it's you guys that are.
Everybody knows you.
Just in case. So no, it's a bit different, obviously, because our clients are the agents themselves, and I actually echo everything that Charlie and Jamie were saying, in particular about making sure, firstly, that you've got the whole year, obviously, to get as many of these reviews as possible, because it's quite a lot of work, but also to have it embedded in the culture. I think if we didn't have that to begin with, we would have really struggled. So, for example, one of our core values is focus on the user, and underneath that is create wow moments. So all of our customer success team tries so hard all the time anyway to really go above and beyond. And I actually thought the ESTAS was a brilliant way of recognizing it, because I find in a state agency, a lot of the other members of the team sort of get quite a bit of the glory. The sales team will go to the various award ceremony, but there was nothing that celebrated the efforts of customer success in particular. So I thought this was a brilliant way of recognizing their efforts. Hey guys, is this thing we can enter? When you can get these reviews from our clients, if you're creating wow moments with them, which you should be doing anyway, let's get a review from it. And then I think the feedback loop from that is super important. So whenever we did get a good review, we celebrated it. And if they mentioned somebody by name, we actually, so we use a system called Lattice. So we have goal setting. If anybody's interested, there's a book called Measure What Matters, which I highly recommend, which is all about setting goals or objectives and key results. One of our objectives was, to get, I can't remember how many it was, reviews. So that was linked to their performance, and then we can feed back on that. So every time somebody was personally mentioned, that would go into Lattice, which is stored against them for their performance review every quarter. But it also feeds through, it's an integration with Slack. So it's, so-and-so's received public praise from, and then they get, that feedback loop, and they, people clap and say, well done, that's brilliant. And I think that is a really important way to celebrate it, because that just encourages people to get more and more good reviews. So that feedback loop, I think, is super important.
Recognition, I think, is really important. Recognizing your staff, because if you want it to continue and want the momentum of the reviews to continue, recognizing the staff for getting great reviews is what drives it in our business. Every Friday we have like a Friday, and Maritza, our head of operations, will announce who's got the most reviews, and I think that just keeps up the momentum.
Definitely.
But in all of that, recognizing the staff, of course, it's still important they recognize you. Is that, that's still the way it works? It's all about me. Kristjan, I feel a bit like Sid James here, getting all smutty, but do you measure what matters?
Look, I think we've been doing the ESTAS now for 10 years. I think one of the nice things about it is, I think, don't limit what you can get out of it. I think we went into the ESTAS and we never ever had any aspirations with regards to the larger like Grand Prix awards. We only ever entered into it thinking East London. We want to be able to compete on our patch. We were very happy early days when we sort of got shortlisted and managed to pick up a, bronze or silver here. And, I think anything worth winning, really, if it, unless you're an incredible operation that, just hasn't happened to enter the awards, don't be disheartened if you enter the first time and don't make the shortlist or only get a shortlist. If it's an award worth winning, it's going to take some time to get there, and it's going to take some real honesty of looking at your business and admitting what you're getting right and what you're getting wrong. I've seen a lot of people at awards over the years who've entered for the first time. They don't win anything, and then you see them down the hallway later, and they're like, "Well, I'm never entering that again. Blah, blah, blah. We're much better than so and so." And it's like, well, and fair enough. That's the emotion of the day. Everyone wants has their emotions running high that day. But it's really important. Whatever result you get an award, whether you walk away with nothing or the biggest prize of the day, I think it's really important you go away and you still look at your business. You still look at where there's room for improvement. But also, and I think this is particularly true with the ESTAS, don't limit yourself. Like I said, we had no aspirations for big awards, but 2016. When we won our first, we actually won 2 Grand Prix awards. I mean, no one was more surprised in that room than we were about picking those 2 up. It's quite funny. One of my staff kept ribbing me all day going, "Oh, look out for the Grand Prix, look out for the Grand Prix." I just kept saying to him, "Shut up, Andy, shut up. It doesn't, none of that. Oh, we've lost our host." Okay.
People.
Just carry on. We're on our own.
So yeah, we're flying solo. But
carry on.
I think the thing that came out really nicely from 2016, actually, when we returned the next year, was we had loads of small agents like us, because we're a single branch. We're 6 staff. Hello, mate, you're back. We had a single branch with 6 staff, and I think when we won big in 2016, that made a lot of small agents like us in the room really sit up and take and realize that it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how many branches you've got, what your turnover is. Particularly at the ESTAS, anyone can compete. And it was really nice in 2017, to see a load of agents who'd been very happy with sort of picking up a short list or a bronze or silver, and then saw us do really well and came back, and then really went away and really looked at the business and came back. And in 2017, we had quite a few agents come up to us after the awards who did really well. And, and they were like, the reason we did well is you proved that it can be done. You showed us that it doesn't matter. We're a small team. From a customer service standpoint, we can still compete with the biggest, most established agents in the country. And actually, I think, as we know, as independents, outperform them.
As you say, that is really true. The ESTAS in particular, there was always a very strong agent up in Liverpool. Logic Estates, from what I remember, always did particularly well there. And, that's when they really start resonating on the larger scale. In the Sunday Times, I remember Carl Tatler, again up in the Northwest, a fantastic small agency, albeit with, kind of 4 or 5 offices back then, winning it multiple times. So it is absolutely true. A lot of people who say it's just geared towards the big boys is it really isn't, and it's I think that as you said, showing companies that have been there before can only justify other people going in for it. The other thing about that as well is that it shouldn't be that easy to win, otherwise it's like all things in life, isn't it?
No, exactly.
Talking about that for myself, who's had everything given on a plate, but I pretend I've come up from the streets, so it works like that. But I remember the first time we went, and as you said, you do go. You know how good you are. You watch your own area, and you go into that awards, and you're just waiting for the moment where they say, "Come on, here you go." And it came to Supplier of the Year at the Sunday Times, and me and my old colleague at the time, Peter Fennick, were busy putting on our jackets, waiting to go up to the stage. Just as they announced it, TM Training and Julian O'Dell, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, how can they not know how brilliant we are?" And I don't think I answered the call for another week or so whilst I navel gazed about how this travesty had happened. But you do need to understand on what basis you are competing on, don't you? And sometimes that takes, there's no one out there like a sort of awards Yoda that gives you the tips or anything else like that, just to how to present yourself in the best possible way. And quite often it is things like this about understanding, you know, that you don't just see it as just a point in time, see it as over a period of time, and how to get the most out of it. Certainly that's a key feature.
But I think also what's nice, we're talking about the ESTAS today, but, you know, I've said this before, I think what's nice, you know, we've really got 3 major awards in our industry now, right? We've got the ESTAS, the NEGs, and the Masters, you know, and I think what's really nice is they all make you look at your business in very different ways. ESTAS is very customer review, service driven, whatever that means. That can be a very broad, you know, overall. You know, and then you've got the NEGs, which is very much really sort of, you know, an industry panel who understand agency, assessing you sort of from an organizational standpoint in terms of what the industry think is a good agent, you know. And then you've got the Masters, which is more on very focused, driven on sort of customer response times and, you know, and percentage performance and stuff like that. And I think the nice thing is, you know, you can pick and choose. You can, you know, you can try and compete in all of them. And I think, you know, the best agents do try to compete on all levels. But I think the nice thing with the different awards is they do all mean different things. So, you know, there is, and no one award is right. No one award is greater than the other. You know, they're all measuring your business on different metrics. And yeah, I think sometimes agents can get a little bit sort of het up about what per se an award is. I mean, any awards, even if we look at the Oscars, fundamentally it's only someone's opinion, right? It doesn't, you know, but it's just a good way to benchmark your business against how you're doing against the industry, what you're delivering to your customers, where you're heading in the future.
Isn't that the point as well, Kristjan, and indeed everyone here, that actually what this is about is it's a really, really, really good barometer and way of benchmarking your own success, regardless of looking about everything else. One of the things that I've found really, really, really actually helped me over the year when we were doing it was, even if you thought you've had, well, that has been a tough year, don't really feel like we've really done too much. When you sit down and look at it and appraise it, you realise actually just how much you're doing, don't you, over a period of time. Do you think that's true, Heather? Do you think that process of going for the awards is a good way of measuring yourself year on year?
Definitely. As you were speaking then, I was just thinking about all the other awards that we entered and some of those awards we won over the year. And a lot of it is to do with the sort of, I would say, like the glory statistics. How much have you grown? How many clients have you got? All of this sort of stuff. But actually our customer success team, which is the biggest team in our business, we get most of our business from recommendations. So a huge part of our sales is our customer success team anyway. But they often, for us, they don't get to meet our clients. They don't get to go to the trade shows. They don't get to, you know, do anything. So the reason we entered it in the first place was to try to give the success team some recognition for what they were doing. And I thought this would be a really good way. It was a bit bittersweet when we won because they were so excited about coming down to London and actually meeting some of our clients face to face. But yeah, it put a real spotlight on the efforts that they were going to, which is the foundation of our business. You know, I can't remember how much it is. I think it's about 80+% of all of our business comes from recommendations from another agent, which is amazing given the industry. Sorry, got some dogs.
Oh, watch out, they bite, you know.
Yeah, they do.
No. So yeah, for us, going through that process and having that spotlight on the success team was absolutely brilliant. And it was brilliant for them as well to be recognised for their efforts. And I'm sure next year we'll get them down to London and they can meet you all.
Right. Well, we certainly don't want to hear of any other businesses with that level of referral. Otherwise, kerfuffle isn't needed, and that would be a terrible thing. So, Jamie, what about you in terms of that? You know, you do go in for these. You are like me. I think we met on the dance floor after one of these events.
We did after the last dance. We certainly did. Just to echo that, it does get harder as you grow. I mean, I'm a good example. Yeah. But I've been at this now 6 years, 8 awards, and But the beginning, the early stages, I would strongly recommend, although this is making my job a lot harder, strongly recommend new suppliers to enter the ESTAS, because working with a small group, small clients and stuff, as Charlie said, the feedback is really important, especially now where they've adjusted it. So there's no good 1,000 votes and feedback of 72%. You're going to be miles off. Those adjustments to the feedback percentage is huge, and you find working with a smaller group that you can maintain a very high level of feedback with a small group and keeping a smaller group of people happy. So it does a hell of a lot harder to maintain your gold status, best in industry, whatever you want to call it, which is why it's important to make sure you're keeping an eye on who is up and coming, what's happening, because I remember being there myself, and to be fair, the first couple found it easy. But now there's a couple of them tuning at the ankles behind. So, recommend them, get involved. But yes, it's job on for us to maintain the good scores at high volumes.
Interesting. Do you think it's possible to go in for too many awards?
Yeah.
You can.
I think
love you.
I can answer that. I think it is. But it isn't at the same time. So when the first award we went for, I remember, I think it was Ben Harris actually from Sunday Times, who was working for Peter Knight back then, and he said, I was speaking to him, he said, you know what, you should enter the Sunday Times Awards. An agent like you would do well. And I was like, really? I thought, surely we're not that good. It was 2011. We came second, so we got silver to Green & Co back then, when Green & Co were amazing in London. And that was the beginning. After that, it was year after year we sort of got addicted to the Sunday Times. And I remember, and then obviously that's when I got to know you, Simon. And I remember 2013 we didn't win anything, and I was devastated.
I can think how bad that was for you. I mean,
it was bad, wasn't it? But I didn't give up. I thought, right, let's. And the key to this is, I thought, right, what have we done wrong? What have we done differently? And it did spur me on to sort of reinvent the business again in 2014. Did
you call it Chexit?
No, but we were really innovative during 2014. Brought in a lot of new things. We had that Hero to Zero, the fee thing that we did. Where we basically said, you decide what fee you pay us. That was really innovative in the industry at that time. Then after a while, your clients start saying to you, oh, you've won another award. And the value does decrease because you've won so many. So then we thought, okay, let's give it a little break. And I ended up, I'd go as a guest. I might have gone as your guest, Simon. Then I'm watching the awards and I'm getting upset. I'm thinking, why haven't we won? Because we didn't enter. I was still getting upset. So I thought, no, I've got to. And then the reasons change. So exactly like what Heather said, before we were looking to sort of challenge ourselves and push the business forward, but then it just became about rewarding the staff.
Yeah,
and I think the ESTAS, and I think Kristjan will agree, because Kristjan, we've been successful in the ESTAS, we've been successful in the Sunday Times, EA Masters, and the Negotiator. But my staff enjoyed the ESTAS the most, to be honest.
Okay.
As a party, as an event, they loved it. And that's what it's all about.
I think it's also that thing, isn't it, Charlie? As well, some of the other awards, it's more submissions and. This is diminishing some of the other awards by saying it's so there's a certain amount of tick boxing, but I think the nice thing with the ESTAS is it is about that genuine feedback, and I think your staff know if you've done well at the ESTAS, you've delighted the clients. Bottom line, and that fundamentally, sell whatever it is, that's what we all really want to come out with at the end of the day. Obviously, we want to get paid, but we want to deliver that, and I think for the staff, I mean, I like the purity of the ESTAS. Don't get me wrong. I'm being a supplier as well. You know, it's great to have events that do have the supplier market halls and do have the conferences that talk about it. But I love the fact that the ESTAS is a very, very pure award. You turn up, and that is literally all it is about, is a party and a celebration of the hard graft of the year before.
I will be checking, by the way, Kristjan. I will be checking when the depository inevitably wins. If I see Base Property has given a 5-star review, it's going to kick off everywhere.
6-star review, mate. 6-star review from Base.
I particularly like Kristjan.
I think, you know, just like Charlie said, like the delight on the staff. It is. I can't think of anything, you know, that we do for the staff. I mean, our annual trip to Amsterdam is a close contender, but yeah, I mean the enjoyment and the delight the staff get out of the ESTAS is epic, you know. And I don't think there's anything that really underlines the value of what our staff put in, day out, week in, week out, than something like that. Don't you agree, Simon?
I absolutely do. I think you made a really good point there, Kristjan. I was always very suspicious, Charlie. You just mentioned there about those people who said, "Oh, we're going to take a year out now." You know, I never know whether I could understand it with those ones where you need to put in a proposal or a presentation, because it takes a mammoth amount of work to do that. But
I only did it for about 6 months, to be honest, and regretted it.
How do you all deal? Isn't the most important thing though about? I mean, I don't know whether I used to say this just to fool myself, but the most important thing is being recognised year on year, and it doesn't always have to be, does it? For the very great to get the biggest ones, but actually, I always found that just to have that. Streets Ahead, an amazing company down in Croydon or whatever else. And the thing that I used to just love about them was that on their signature strip, they used to show every award they'd won. And by the end, it used to take 3 minutes to scroll from one email to another there. But it couldn't fail but get across to you that this is not a one-off Charlie who was just a one-off Charlie. It was just won it 1 year and then sort of you never hear about them again, can you? It is about the consistency point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think to win the award again and again, I remember when we were winning the Sunday Times, and there was almost no enjoyment winning it the next year because you had the pressure of just like winning it year after year. But it was hard. But at the end of the day, it's down to your staff and pushing your staff to get the best results, and the recognition of the staff is the key, I think.
Yeah, I think
they're all hard awards to win, and none of them are easy. I think some people might underestimate the ESTAS. It is a huge task getting those reviews over a year, and sometimes you'll get hundreds and hundreds of reviews, and you won't win.
Yeah.
We do, but if you don't, you're thinking, Jesus Christ, how many reviews do you have to have? What level do you have? And then you speak to someone like Kristjan who says to you, "Oh yeah, we've got over 300 reviews already," and I'm like, "Really? 300 reviews? We've got to get going."
There is a small margin for error, isn't there? Because when you hear these approval ratings of 98, 99, and you're getting up to 99.6%, it really is. You have to be performing at such a stellar level there to really get into it.
Yeah. I think you've got to be, in our awards. I think. What do you think, Kristjan? It's probably over 97% at least, with over 100.
Yeah, I mean, I think landlords. I think we were just a smidge under 98%, and we had something like 140 landlords vote, which is like 90% of our client base. And that still didn't get us, into the Grand Prix thing for landlords, and touching what I was saying earlier, I mean, like the Grand Prix one, I mean, we had an amazing ESTAS, but that one, the bronze came out, the silver came out, and we were like, we've nailed it. We've got a gold landlords. And then Infinity won it, rightly so, for the second year on the trot. But it was heart sinking. We'd already picked up 4 awards, but it was amazing. Like that was still gutting not having that. but knowing, I mean, that I think, you know, we track our results. I think that was either our best or second best landlord score ever. And by a long shot, the most landlords we've ever had vote. And yet we still didn't get into that top three. Yeah. And it just shows, you know, how seriously competitive. I mean, you know, like I said, around 98%, most dancers, most companies in any sector would be dancing a jig if they could get that sort of approval rating from almost their entire client base. And yet that doesn't get you one of the really big awards. Just shows how competitive the ESTAS really is.
Yeah, but you're being very magnanimous, and I like that about you, Kristjan, just so you know. Craig, you were just going to say something, were you? Just going to jump in on that?
For us as well, the whole of our staff, the whole of our team want to win it. And so what it does from us as a supplier, it makes us look, if we want to win it, we know we've got to keep innovating, and we know that we've got to keep our client base interested in what we're doing. So it just keeps us pushing forward, which is a good thing, because you know we would be gutted if we didn't win our award, and the whole team would be gutted, and it lifts everybody when we do win it. And it is a fantastic, it is really a whole team effort to actually get that done. But it works throughout the year. It keeps us honest. It keeps us looking to make sure we're listening to what our clients want, what their challenges are, and wherever we can put solutions to those challenges to keep us, to keep our clients on board and happy. And we find that works really well.
Does it win you any extra business? I mean, obviously it's wonderful, all of this staff knowing obviously that your clients are thinking about you, but just on a very narrow level, does it actually help you win business over the year? I mean, I'll be very honest, from our point of view, I can definitely think that it sometimes made the difference when we were close up against competitor. It might just be that pushed it over the edge. Jamie, what do you think? Does it actually help it out there communicating with clients to win business?
100%, yeah. And going back to one of my first points, the personal contact with them. I mean, we have a 4 to 6 week aftercare campaign. We've got a group of account managers that make sure that whether the letting agents are doing really well, because we measure letting agents on performance as well, like getting us the right day at the right time, prepping the tenants. So they've got to put their shift in as well to make sure it works properly, so we can deliver that good service. Because let's say, for example, letting agents are giving us late data. We're calling tenants late. They've signed up to another deal that they didn't get money off stuff. Then we're the baddies for like, why didn't you call sooner? So it's absolutely right. Yeah, the personal touch and staying in contact with them, and a good reason to stay in contact with them. It's always good to say, how you doing? See it's all going well. You've got some commission in the bank. That's the nice calls to make. But then you've got the ones to when you are drumming up votes. But I suppose content's the wrong word, but it's important for us to make sure we've got something a little bit different to talk to them each time, because otherwise you become that robot that calls every 6 weeks to say, yes, it's all fine. Yes, we're all here. Yeah, we're doing great. Thanks for the commission. New products is good. But again, you can squeeze votes or 2 votes, because let's not forget, some of us like to enter more than one award, as previously mentioned. And, you don't want to be that guy on the phone that's like, can I have another vote, please? Thanks for the other one. Can I have another one? So you really got to manage it properly. And times to ask for that vote, almost they've had their pint of lager and you ask them for that pay rise, comes in. So timing is key.
I suppose for suppliers as well, there isn't one event that you can just sort of attack them after, like if you've agreed a sale. So you guys have got to be consistent the whole time, really.
Yeah, it's so important. That is key.
What you're saying is, Charlie, and it's nice to hear you finally say it was much harder to win a supplier award than just an award. So you're the bigger man than me, Charlie.
Not really, Simon, because it's the same in lettings, I say. Landlord, you've got to be consistent in the show the whole time.
Just going to have to mute you. Sorry, I can't actually mute you.
I agree, Simon. You've got my back. I agree with you, mate.
I've gone power mad. This was always going to be the show where I became uncontrollable. Heather, what about yourself? I mean, obviously, in terms of you're getting that amazing level of referral business anyway there. I'm guessing what that does, though, is just double down on that, doesn't it? That really just, you're able to just get another tick in the box in terms of why Spectre's the company it is.
Yeah, I think there's tons of prop tech out there, and people can say whatever they want about their own businesses, but to actually get, estate agent reviews, and we've now got hundreds of them. I think that's more important. That's the best marketing we can do, really. Just loads and loads of good, positive recommendations and testimonials. And the other sort of byproduct that was slightly unintended, but I'm sure Craig would agree with me, is that when you start opening up the dialogue about getting feedback, I mean, we've had fantastic feature suggestions from our agents, which, yes, we should have been doing all the time anyway, but it puts that extra focus on it so that every single person in the team is getting it. And that all feeds back in, and that obviously helps shape the future of the product and the roadmap and everything like that. So I think there's nothing better for our business than awards like this that say, yeah, look at how many happy customers we've got, basically.
Yeah.
Peter Lawrence here making the point. Does the customer care externally? We have won a lot of awards.
Peter.
Can I answer that one, Peter? Because
Peter can take. Pete, I'll let you take a picture with my awards. Don't worry.
Well, we see people our clients putting these awards on their Spectre letters, and they do work. And I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that the public is thinking, oh, look, they've won an ESTA. But they are seeing, look, they've won an award for customer service. And when you're trying to differentiate yourself as an agent, I think that's pretty powerful. And we definitely see it in the ROI with Spectre. So if you've got an award, put it on your letterhead.
That was one of my first little tick boxes, Heather.
Was it?
Contact Spectre to change our letters to say you pay.
Brilliant.
Group.
I think also, I'm sure Charlie will agree with me.
Can you just double check for me if they've done it?
But we'll do it, and then we'll send you a review afterwards, Charlie.
Okay, yeah.
Guys,
I think Charlie will agree with me. It's. I think when it comes to agents and whether it's landlords, vendors, very hard to definitively say, yes, this award landed us this client. But I think one thing that's a massive topic of conversation in our industry is fees.
Yeah.
Right. And do you know what? Having a bunch of awards by your name is quite a nice standpoint to go, no, I don't negotiate on fees. You want our service. You want the delivery of service and quality that we deliver, which is underpinned by these awards. That's our fee. You pay it. Yeah. And that has definitely strengthened our position over the last sort of 5-6 years in those conversations of going, that's all very well that so-and-so is offered you a rate 20% less than us, but they don't do half of what we do. So that's fine. You can take a 20% cut for 50% less service, or you can pay our rates and get everything that we do. And it makes that quite a simple conversation, and particularly, as we've said, if you've won awards consistently, be that in a single event or multiple events, again, it just underlines that consistency that you're not, it's not once in a blue moon you do something special. You deliver that week in, month out, year in, year out. You're on a journey with a client, and for a vendor that can be weeks or months, but for a landlord, that's a journey. Hopefully, they're going to go on with you for years. And so to give them that reassurance, to give them that underpinning. I don't think there's many things that underpin your value of a fee as much as awards do.
Okay, and what a perfect time here. We're joined by Supplier Awards royalty himself, Raj from Fixflow. Everyone duck your caps to him, of course, there. Nice of him too, yes. I suspected he wouldn't miss this one. There's a man who knows about it. But, congratulations. You're getting a lot of love, all of you, which, of course, is why, again, you're all whorishly on here, because I know how it works. Peter makes the point as well. He says, though, the client wants to hear what's in it for them and how you are going to listen and deliver for them. Well, that's all just part of the picture, isn't it, in terms of there. I think obviously you all tune in every single week to all of the Kerfuffle podcasts and things. So you will, I'm sure, all have heard what Peter Rawlings had to say on it. And he really did, it resonated for me because I remembered it years later, where he was talking about having won the customer service one at the Sunday Times for the third year in a row. And apart from the overall one, he always said this was the one that mattered most to him because actually, yes, there's a lot of agents that can do the numbers, and many of them, as he said, win the room. But to be able to do the numbers and to have customer service together, that's a really powerful combination, isn't it? There, and that's what's so wonderful about that element. Heather, your fantastic service over at Spectre, you can help them show how they are the best in the area in terms of market share and everything else there. But if you can dovetail that as well with the ESTAS customer satisfaction ratings, there's very little wiggle room for the competitors to have a pop at you, is there?
I would definitely agree with that. I think fundamentally, you guys probably hate this, but in many ways, estate agency is a bit of a commodity product. So if you've got something that differentiates you, shout about it. But yeah,
otherwise it's just on price, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly what Kristjan was saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And I think, agents for the last few years have been saying, how do you battle that argument about fee? When you go in after an onliner or after someone who's doing a cut service for a cut fee, how do you argue that? And the thing is, you need to have multiple tools and, to your disposal, and awards is one of them. Public reviews, statistics, it's multiple things, but you need all of them because, different things will work differently with other clients.
Because otherwise you're there bemoaning these other agents, the cut price agents, aren't they, who just go out and do a generic pitch. By definition, what you are doing is a solutions pitch. So if at the right time that for somebody else, and the difference is that you have won an award, you are paying attention and obviously not having to give up on a fee, aren't you? So it's just, it's perfectly obvious in terms of me.
The other thing it does as well, it changes the mindset of your staff as well. If they know that, they're going to pitch on evaluation, when they know they're, London's best or UK's best estate agent, their mindset changes. And I think it's something that we don't speak about enough when we're trying to get higher fees, but the mindset of your staff really makes a difference. Because if you're going in there thinking I'm only worth 1%, well, guess what? You're not going to get more than 1%. Yeah. And you go really believing, you're a 2% agent.
This is why we see it in Spectre as well. It's still over 50% of people that switch agents. That's over 50% of people that instruct an agent and feel let down enough to switch to another agent. So again, if you're writing to them at that point and you've got something to back up that you're not letting people down, it's going to be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Reiterating what Charlie said. I remember I was at a property lunch thing a couple of years ago, and it was actually a commercial agent I was speaking to, and he was bemoaning sort of the lowering of fees, and he sat there and it astonished me, the conversation really, because he was like, we've got this main competitor that we deal with and they've cut their fees by like 30%, so whether we go in before or after them, it doesn't matter, we're competing. And I was like, and they've set that fee, so now we have to match that fee. And I was like, well, why do you have to match that fee? And he was like, well, we both do exactly the same job.
Oh, for God's sake.
If they're really losing money,
okay, so really professional people, but really professional speakers like Christopher Watkins would say remain anonymous. But I'm so annoyed by that. I want you to name them, Kristjan. Name and shame them.
But I said to him, and I think he was quite surprised I was that blunt. But my response was, I'm really glad you don't work for me. Because I was like, not being funny, if you can't even be even if you do believe that you are delivering exactly the same service in exactly the same way as your competitor, that you don't even have the creativity or the salesmanship to at least present it in a different way.
I'm actually going to be sick in my police hat because I can't.
And that's the thing. It's like it's not enough to just believe you're better, right? You can't just say, "Oh yeah, we do things exactly the same as that agent, but we're better."
Yeah,
Peter certainly agrees. If you believe the best in England, then charge that. Yeah. So somebody who else agrees with you here. So hi, David. And I had to reread this a couple of times, but I get it now. So in terms of Dave's talking about landlords' contracts should include their vote. I'm assuming he talks about their customer satisfaction. I think that's a fascinating element there is, you know, you have a huge legalese contract there. Be nice to actually see the reason you're doing it for, isn't it? Here's the customer satisfaction rating on the back of it. But given how long it took us to get GDPR through, I don't think we'll be seeing that anytime soon, David. So you'll have to wait. But anyway, like guys, I think obviously you've had a fantastic week, and of course it's important to point out that it's all about it having been a fantastic year. That's why you've managed to, you know, to step up and win these awards, many of you for multiple times. I'm just going to ask each of you individually now, what do you think it is about what you've done over the last year, what you're most proud of in your own businesses that really have, that you feel that this is an award for, even if that's not what it was, you know, specifically recognised. Jamie, you kicked off. Let's finish with you.
I suppose maintaining that high level of service to the tenants. Let's not forget that's one of the key parts of tenant shop. We've got to make sure the tenants looked after. Now, there are lots of other ways of how people can make money on broadband and energy and stuff, or having specific kind of friends in the industry, or just a few suppliers. We've always maintained that choice for the tenant, and you probably will agree that I want a larger arsenal of products to choose from. So maintaining that and not looking at the big pound signs from someone that pops in to say, get one with me, I'll give you 4 times as much. Yes, they would. I'd get my boat a lot quicker, but the service would drop. The service levels would drop, you know, and we would get criticised for recommending a supplier, you know. So it's super important to almost not use blinkers in relation to some of the big money that's kind of thrown around, or ideas to say, why aren't you doing this, or pushing them all this way, because that's not the way we do it, you know. We will always stay the same. I will certainly always stay the same. So it's maintaining the core elements of the business that got it to success in the very beginning. So not looking at the potential bigger picture with getting greedy quick. So maintaining your level is key, and keeping what you're doing good. You know, don't, you know, if it's not broke, you know, there's no need to fixing it. So
it's keeping you honest, isn't it? Keeping you on your edge, performing and keeping you honest. Yeah,
odds are all on the table. It's exactly the tenant, they make the choice. We're not pushing them down the route, it's their choice. So if, for example, they make a bad decision, and some do, you know, they did that, you know, we were there to help them put it through. So yeah, it's maintaining and keeping a straight head in relation to the model that actually works, and don't tinker with it because you're drinking.
Perfect. Craig, what about yourself?
Well, I think from our perspective, I think is 2 elements. One is customer service, to make sure that we are retention is obviously very important. 2 factors are going to keep our clients remaining clients. One is making sure that we're there for them to support them and assist them wherever they need. So that customer support is vital. And the other one, as I mentioned a bit earlier, is about innovation. It is about adapting, evolving. It's organic. It grows, and making sure that, you know, if you stay static in prop tech, you go backwards. So it is a case of not just building something for its sake, but actually building it to overcome a challenge that the agency has. And that's what we're constantly striving to do, and hopefully we do it better than a lot of our competitors. So I think that's key for us, for sure.
Perfect. I don't know what you did there. It sounded like you had a filter on your voice. You sounded lovely and chocolatey there. Maybe this is just what the awards do for you. It just turns you into a better version of yourself.
The beers I had last night was just
yeah, the next day you lose your voice. If you're not being attacked by dogs.
Yeah, I think one of the things that our team should be really proud of this year is that they don't see themselves as reactive to our clients. They're very much proactive. So they are subject matter experts in the field of prospecting. And what I've loved seeing, particularly over the last year, is them moving into a role where sometimes they'll have brave conversations, and they'll say to clients, look, I really think you should be doing X, Y, and Z, where it could be really easy to sit back and be like, yeah, your letters are great, go for it. And I think, across the board, our clients really appreciate that honesty because it helps them get better results. And I think that's fed through into the reviews that we've got. So, yeah, I would say that.
Actually challenge them for the best, not just assuming the client is always right, but otherwise, what value are you adding if you stay quiet when you know something's wrong?
Exactly, and our head of customer success always says to the team, you guys have got the luxury of knowing the return on investment of every single one of our clients over the country, so you know what works and you know what doesn't work. So don't be afraid of sharing it. Have these conversations, get on the phone, say, this is what I think you should be doing, guys. Here's my suggestions, go ahead and do it. And I think that's definitely appreciated.
Spot on. Kristjan, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, as a couple have already touched on, I think consistency, massive thing. Being able to deliver that consistency and actually prove that consistency is massive. Again, particularly for a lettings agency where that relationship is long, and we are primarily a lettings agency. So being able to benchmark that. But I think for us, I think the thing we come away from any award with is, how do we make our service better next year? I can't think of a single year, particularly in the last decade, but I'd like to think going back to when we started, but I can't think of a single year where we've just been happy to just run our business exactly the same way we did the previous 12 months for the next 12 months. We will always look at something. We will look at a service partner. We will look at whether it's one that we're working with and we need to upgrade or cut it back, whether it's a new one we need to look at. Apparently there's quite a good website where you can go and identify things like that and track track supplier relationships. But yeah, that's the thing that we take away from each awards is like, no matter what we win or don't win that year, you take it on the chin, and it's, but you do pick apart the business and you go, right, what are we going to add? What aren't we doing? What would we like to do differently? And every year we change something, and they don't always work. They don't always work. You will try a new supplier partner that another agent might have told you is absolutely smashing it for them, and you put it in your business and it doesn't quite work out, and that's fine.
That partnership deal you did with Blockbuster last year didn't really deliver, did it? Following on from your previous one with Kodak. It's a really good point. I love that angle that you're always changing, always pivoting.
Keep innovating.
Perfect. Charlie, inevitably on an awards horse show. Well, obviously we'll finish with myself, but come on. What are you most proud of over the last year, Charlie? Apart from survived COVID.
I think, to be honest, it's the constant development of our staff. Number one, I would say, always pushing ourselves as a company to improve, trying to be innovative. Exactly like what Kristjan said, looking at things and products, how we can improve the business. The culture is absolutely key for me. Having staff that have got pride in their work, real pride in what they do. They're not just doing it as a job; it's a real career. I think that makes it a lot easier. It doesn't matter how good your processes are, how good your brand is. If you don't have the people, it will all go to pot. So I think that's key. I think from a customer service point of view as well, at Anthony Pepe, we always try and understand everyone's individual story, and that is from listening. You've got to be a good listener. You can't be one of these agents that just goes on and on and on and just,
Thanks anyway, Charlie. Thanks for that.
and you know what we do with our staff? We really encourage them to sort of take ownership of what they do. I always say to them, make mistakes, but don't sit back and let something may be going wrong happen. Try and solve that yourself. Because there's too many times when people think that's not really my job. I want people to have that initiative and try and solve things and not be afraid to speak to their client and get things done. Getting shit done, basically. That is the main thing.
But that point about that's the destination, how you get there, how you make that work for the client is the key thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I know one thing about you, Charlie, and I'm assuming what that wonderful speech was about, you're going to be using this video for your negotiators entry, aren't you? So as shameless. Well, look, guys, as Amy says here, it was a show that it was the only ESTAS that she remembered. A lot of the love here today. Mr. Bevan himself of Van Milder, congratulations to all deserved winners. I'm assuming there'll be some sort of special prize like you get at the Oscars where you go and pick up your watches and everything else there. So on Monday, we'll be having the losers show. Of course we won't. I couldn't talk to those muggles. It's fantastic to see you all. I love being in your respected glory. I hope you all have a great week and make all the best use of those awards. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much for taking part.
Thank you, guys. Well done.
See you, everyone. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Dogs. Will do.
How did you stop it bang on an hour, Simon? How did you?
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. No overhead kicks, Heather.
I know.
No.
See you guys.
See you later, guys. Ta-da.
Bye.
See you.